Episode 5, World Cup Digest with your boy, Football Pharaoh, Dominic Rich. Bro, another great day. Another awesome day of World Cup football.
Yeah, it was. Match day one's in the books. That's just the first course.
Exactly. So, look, let's start with the Group H matches first, and then we end with the Group G games, and of course, we talk about Brazil Serbia last. So let's start with the match between Uruguay and South Korea. That was actually the was this the early game? No, this wasn't the early game.
It
The
was
early
the
that was the 8 o'clock match.
yeah.
Yeah, that was an 8 o'clock match. So 0-0, bro. We both got it right because I think I predicted a draw for this, and you predicted a draw too.
Yep.
And the reason why I went with a draw is because I figured, right? Okay, Saudi Arabia did it, Japan did it. So South Korea, you're not far off from those teams. You might be even better than Saudi Arabia. If you know, I'm not saying, I'm just historically. So I say, why not? Because if you look at the big teams, it's like they look good on paper, they have the names, but they haven't had enough time in the camp together to
Mhm.
mesh and gel. While for some of the smaller teams, they have that time. A lot of them play in the same leagues locally and everything, or the camps came together earlier because they could have afforded to do that. Because a lot of these bigger teams, their players play with these big clubs, and you can't say, "Hey, man, by the way, Juventus or Man City, I'm gonna just get away early so I could prep for the World Cup." You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah. So how you enjoy this game though? I think you told me you hit me up and you really like this one.
I did. I did. It was scrappy at times. Both teams had a few good chances apiece to take the initiative and go on to get full 3 points. And it was end to end action. I liked it, and I'm not surprised at all that it ended in a draw. Like you said, we both had a draw for a tie for this game, and it opens the group up nicely now.
Very.
So you want to dive into like the tactics and everything now?
No, well, look, I what I like about South Korea and Japan is that they're so busy. They're busy teams. They
Yeah,
they're so positive. It's like they just want to play attractive football. They're gonna take on the opponents. They play without fear. And we saw with Japan, they went down and they still came back. And with South Korea, even though throughout the games, the game they were they were penned in and they were being dominated by Uruguay at times. That didn't throw them off. They still bounced back to have some very good periods for themselves. And I don't know how Huang and Weizhou did not score that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I know. He
I
should have.
don't look. I don't know because look, the Godin header onto the base of the post. That's a set piece. Okay, you
Mhm.
know that's like split second. But Huang Hui Zhou, the sequence, the build up, it was put on a platter.
And he was by himself. He wasn't marked.
Exactly, and he leaned back and blasted over. When you played against the likes of Uruguay and Portugal, when they give you chances, you have to punish them.
Yes.
You have to punish them because if you don't, it could come back to haunt you later on in the group.
And they don't
And
usually give you that much. They usually don't give you that much space to begin with.
exactly, and then the chance for Son when the goalkeeper Roche made that mistake,
Yep.
they had to
Right.
punish Uruguay. And if they had scored that goal, that would have been a late sting. Uruguay were never coming back from that, man.
No, they weren't. That was like in the 89th minute, I believe.
Exactly.
And
But but that Valverde shot was something else, man.
yeah, I think he was. I think he was. This is my opinion. He was easily the best player for Uruguay today.
Yeah. Suarez was like absent. I think Suarez might get dropped for the next game for Cavani.
Bro, like I said in my reaction video, I, I'm I'm increasingly like struggling to see what kind of role he plays in this team, man. Like you have some of these guys that are starting to look like they're a little bit past it. Like
Yeah.
so, I mean, if I had to guess right now, I don't think he's going to start in the next match.
So with that being said, let's just take a quick look at it. Uruguay in 11. You see Rocher in goal. He took over from Muslera, of course. Cáceres, man. Cáceres been around since 2006, bro. This guy is like timeless. I'm telling you.
Yep.
Experience in the back line with Oliveira, the only newish face, right? In the midfield, Vecino and Bentancur, along with Valverde. This is a stacked up team. Pelistri with that youthful exuberance, Suarez through the middle, and Darwin Núñez. I think Darwin had a really good game. He was dangerous, man. You know,
he did. I was just a little confused of why he was placed like on the left wing because, like,
well, he could play as a left winger because you see, for Liverpool when Firmino plays as well, Darwin is usually pushed over to the left, right, and he's allowed to drift in. But you can't put Suarez on the wing. You see what I'm saying?
You can't. But I also feel like he
feel like he could play more in the center. Yeah.
He's more natural to center. You know, because it kind of like it would free Uruguay up at that point to put a more creative player in there, like Torres or De Arrascaeta or somebody. You know.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a good point. I mean, I forgot about him like with Liverpool, and he has sometimes reversed to the left side, but.
Yeah, but I think the next game Suarez might get dropped because Cavani came on and looked a lot better though.
Yeah, he did.
I have to say. So look, off the bench for Uruguay, Nico de la Cruz, Guillermo Varela, Mateus Viña, Edinson Cavani. So look, the squad is very, very deep, and they would have to tap into that squad if they wanna unlock, you know, those 3 points in the next game, which is gonna be a massive game, right?
For sure. Portugal.
Yep. South Korea, bro. I've said this. These guys are element of surprise because if I have to put myself as a opposition team, I won't be able to figure out who is who. All I'll know is Hunming Son, and the rest I'm like, I don't even know who you guys are. Seriously, like, because you can't keep track of these guys. They look alike. The names, you can't pick up the names, and I struggle. I'm telling you, I struggle with that. But I have to say it was a good performance. You know, Son with the injury, he still played well. And, you know, they give Uruguay a fight and walk away with a point. The goalkeeper pulled off some big saves as well later on in the game there too. So, you know, give it up to South Korea.
Na Sung-ho was okay today as well.
Yeah.
Like I saw from him. Fun fact, the lineup, it's all Kims at the back, if you noticed.
And there's actually 3 Hwangs in the team as well. So that's what I'm telling you. How are you supposed to keep track of this team? But look, the first thing I noticed is that they matched Uruguay, right? Look at the passing, it's close. Look at the possession, close. The shots, close. Everything close. So it's fair to say that both teams were lacking a bit of quality in the final third, and a point apiece is a fair result.
It's a fair result, and now it's just a question of which one of these sides is gonna be punished for it, because I have a feeling only one of them is gonna make it through the next round.
So with that being said, Uruguay do take on Portugal next Monday, and Ghana would be their final game. And for South Korea, of course, look, I think South Korea put themselves in the better position here, if you ask me, because
Agreed.
Let's take a look at South Korea, and their next game they're playing against Ghana. And I'm not saying Ghana are going to be pushovers. This could be Ghana's opportunity to put themselves in contention as well.
For sure.
But if South Korea are to really say, hey man, we want to go through, they would have to send a statement and beat Ghana, go up to 4 points, and that would put a whole lot of pressure on Uruguay, because let's say Uruguay lose to Portugal, right?
Yeah.
Then the final game against Ghana would be a scrap, and you know the whole narrative, Uruguay and Ghana would love to knock him out.
1,000%.
Exactly. So this group is shaping up very, very, very nicely. And with that being said, bro, let's talk about the other game in this group. Let's talk about that game segue very nicely. This was a thriller. Portugal 3, Ghana 2. And I mentioned in my reaction video, my headline was it was a very unconvincing win for Portugal, in my
Yes.
opinion. And the reason why I said it was unconvincing, even though they played in a more attacking style than they usually do, because we know Fernando Santos he does have this negative way about the way he set the team up, and he is usually criticized for, okay, why you have such a talented team and you play such negative football. But today we didn't see that. We saw they took on Ghana. They were on top for most of the game, but they were just vulnerable on a few occasions. And before we even forget to talk about this, Ghana almost stole it, like literally in
Yep.
the end there. Iñaki Williams. I was actually getting ready to leave work, so I kind of missed who the player was. And if Iñaki Williams did not slip, that would have been one of the talk throughout the entire World Cup, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure. And an entirely legal move. I mean, he waited behind
Exactly.
Patricio.
No, that was actually
Well,
Diogo Costa.
because sorry,
Yeah, yeah.
he waited behind him, and he timed his sneak. He was behind him. He timed it right, but like you said, he just lost his footing.
Yeah, man. I
And
would have
that would have
loved.
been that would have been.
I would have loved to see that, man. So look, for the goals, it was 0-0 at halftime. So Ghana, they were in the game. They were in very much in the game. Portugal had their opportunities, of course. And just to refer to my notes really quick, Kudos had a mistake. Ronaldo was through on goal, but the goalkeeper actually came out and he mopped up. Very dominant football by Portugal in the early stages of the first half, but I have to say that Ghana, they were holding firm. They didn't have any clear openings themselves, but they were actually holding firm. And then closer to the end of the first half, they had a few corners that they threatened. They sent a few warning shots there, and they settled as the first half progressed, and they went into halftime 0-0. And I was like, okay, maybe Ghana could walk away with something here from this game, you know. So Portugal had 7 shots, while Ghana didn't have a single shot at goal at halftime. That's something to actually think about. So they did well. They did well, and I want to just take a look at when these substitutions were made too, because that's another tactical move that we have to talk about the tactics and question some of the tactics that were actually implemented. So I'm gonna just scroll down to the halftime mark around there where the substitutes were starting to in the second half, right?
Oh
So
yeah, that
second
was
half.
yeah. It was soon after Ayu scored because he took off Kudus and Ayu.
No,
And,
but right here, right, like just like all the substitutions, right?
from
I
Santos, you mean?
Yeah, because I thought when Carvalho came on, I know Carvalho is way more defensive than Otavio. So I was saying to myself, why is he bringing on William? You know what I'm saying? Instead of maybe someone more attacking, maybe like a João Mario, right? And then okay, he brought him on. William is capable of pushing the ball forward. And then Ronaldo got that penalty. That was a very soft penalty, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was too. I mean, I remember the Fox Sports commentators were saying it. There's contact, and like he goes to ground a little too softly, but
Yeah.
it's technically by the rule of the book a penalty. But like, I don't like the rule. I think it's way too. I think it's abused, honestly.
Yeah, I think Salisu did, I think, get some of the ball, and Ronaldo, you could see him actually embellishing a bit.
Of course he did. Yeah,
He did. You got to give him credit. Striker's instinct. He stepped up. He scored a goal, and became the first man to score in 5 World Cups, as I said right there. And he has not really been so prolific at World Cups. Like he should have had 20 plus goals. He should have had the record by now, but that's not the case. But he did score a hat trick at the last World Cup, didn't he?
he did, and that
Against
was in that match
Spain.
against Spain. That was a
Yeah.
fire match. But he made some history today. He became the first player in history to score it in 5 consecutive World Cups dating back to 2006.
Awesome.
That's on his record forever now.
Yeah. So look,
I'm glad you brought up. I just want to say, because we're talking about substitutions.
Yeah.
Going to Ghana's substitutions when IU
but they
equalized.
scored, right? First and foremost, they scored.
And
Andre Ayew is now Ghana's second top scorer at the World Cup behind Asamoah Gyan, right, with 6. So, look, the substitutions were actually made before the goal. So that's why I wanted to mention that. Okay. Tariq Lamptey came on for Seydou, and then I think the goal happened, the equalizer. Before the goal, Mohamed Kudus actually stung the palms of Diego Costa. And I was like, okay, Ghana are heating up now. And like immediately after, I think it was like the recycled ball that came back down the left. And Kudus is very talented, man. And I have to actually criticize my Man City player, João Cancelo here. I have to. Because he looked suspect on a few of those occasions, especially for the second Ghana goal. But when Ghana scored, I was like, okay, we got a game here. We got a game. I was actually very, very happy for Andre Ayew. But the thing is, why did Otto Addo took him off immediately?
That's what that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Because
like, I don't get it though.
That I was about to criticize.
And he took out Kudus as well. Like,
yes, it's so dumb.
Like, how could you take off both players,
bro?
Why?
That's why I brought it up, because like it was like just like a few minutes after he equalized, he took both him and Kudus off, and you mentioned that Kudus's effort that was costing Costa some problems. He had another effort too, because remember when Ghana went on the break and he shot one from far and it went wide. He had 2 decent looks on goal in this match, and then after when IU equalized, and then Otto he subbed both of them off. Like,
but the thing is, right?
Why?
If he had taken both the players off after they equalized and brought on defensive players, then it would have made more sense at that time, right? But it was like for like replacements. You took off one brother, brought on another, and you took off Kudus, and you did bring on Bukhari. He went on to score, obviously, but still, it didn't make no sense. And Portugal made some good changes. Look at what Fernando Santos did. We have to give Fernando Santos a lot of credit here, because when they equalized, he said, okay, Ruben Neves come off. He sent on Rafael Leao, who's been Serie A breakout player last season, right? And he still played well. So took off a defensive midfielder, brought on an attacking player, and then the goal happened, because when he made that move, then Bruno Fernandes was actually freed up to go up a little bit more. You see what I'm saying? With William Carvalho on the field now, Bruno Fernandes could now actually push up, and he just started working his magic immediately. So it paid off, and they went up 2-1. And with Leao just on the field, they scored again. And it was Bruno Fernandes again. So the tactical change, you got to give Fernando Santos the credit there. And they were 3-1 up. But Portugal, I think they got a little complacent there when they actually went 3-1 up, because they conceded right away too. And Baba Rahman, let's go up. Baba Rahman with the assist. A couple changes made. Jean Mario came on. And the goal, Usman Bakari, 89th minute. Baba Rahman with the hard work. João Cancelo didn't defend that very well at all. And the lobbed into the box, the header, Ghana into the game. And of course, that Iñaki Williams almost stole the match at the end. So Ghana deserves a lot of credit. The only African team to score so far at the World Cup too.
I was worried for a moment when Portugal went ahead that Africa was going to go scoreless this first round, to be honest. No, Ghana gave us a very frantic ending when they pulled one back, and it went to 9 minutes of added time, I think we had, right?
Yeah.
Talking about Santos, I think he does get credit for bringing on Leao, but the thing with Santos is, like, he's the kind of manager he'll react and he'll only respond when the going gets tough and when Portugal is somewhat already in a hole.
Yeah.
What I'm saying. So Portugal, they had having this unconvincing victory. They scraped through this. The adjustments that he made late on in the second half and when bringing them on, I feel like it was in response to some errors that were already made when they set up way too conservatively, like you said. You know what I mean?
It was like reactive and not proactive.
He reacting to an issue that could have been avoided.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like you'll get away with it against Ghana and possibly against Korea and Uruguay, but if you want to go on to win this World Cup, it's not going to happen.
Like, when you meet the better teams, you know, you get picked off.
You can't be reactive all the time.
Exactly. But look, this team stacked up. Ronaldo, he had his moment today. João Felix, Leao, future looks bright for Portugal, of course. But I'm happy that Ghana did put up a fight and they actually almost got a point. I would have been, I would have preferred to be talking about a 3-3 draw here and, reacting to that goal that Iñaki Williams almost scored. So that was pretty funny, man. I was getting ready to leave work and, just getting my things together, and I had my phone in the pocket, right? And I'm listening to, while I gather my stuff, and then I was like, whoa, I couldn't even find the phone. And then I saw what happened after the whistle had gone, the final whistle. And I was like, oh, wow, that was crazy. Because, I've seen goals like that, but it's only on YouTube. And I thought it was like a joke. You know what I'm saying?
For sure,
but there were actually a few goals scored like that, where the keeper was, in dreamland, and he didn't realize that the forward was hanging out in his goal. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. When Portugal went 3-1 up, I almost went to the bathroom because I had to go, and I was like, let me wait a couple minutes, and then Bukhari scored, and I'm like, oh no, I gotta wait here. Yeah. And then imagine if I had went and I come back and it was 3-3. Just imagine,
yeah, crazy, man.
Insane.
But with that being said, well done to Portugal. Still, they held on for the win, and they will play Uruguay, which will be a tougher test. And if this was tough, Uruguay is gonna be maybe even tougher, man. So look, with that being said, bro, we're gonna move on. We have 2 games to talk about still, and let's talk about these matches and these games from Group G. So let's start with the Switzerland Cameroon. Let's talk about this.
Sure.
Appreciate everybody watching, guys. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up button on the video. Subscribe if you're new, man. Thanks for your continued support. Switzerland 1, Cameroon 0. I predicted a Switzerland win, and they did so. Bril Embolo, 48th minute. He is actually born in Cameroon. So it's crazy, man. And he didn't celebrate too, so respect to Bril Embolo. And this could have gone any way. You know what I mean? Cameroon had a few good moments in the match as well. But the Swiss defense, very resolute. Jan Sommer in goal. This is a quality outfit, man. This Switzerland team is a quality team under Murat Yakin. And I expect big things from this team. I'm expecting them to get out the group and maybe venture to, who knows, maybe quarterfinals. So
Jan Sommer is a cheat code. That's all I have to say about the
goal. Ruben Vargas, he had a good game too. He almost scored. Onana actually pulled off a really good save there. Almost identical to the Bril Embolo goal. So Switzerland did, they did have a formula to break down this I think Cameroon put out a very good performance overall. And Choupo-Moting was getting in behind on a few occasions, and, they were threatening.
They did. The only issue I have with Cameroon, though, is that they dropped off after they went behind. I don't know if you feel the same way, but after Embolo scored in 48th minute for Switzerland, I didn't like the way Cameroon responded. And why did Choupo-Moting come off? I didn't understand that substitution, because when Abu Bakr came on, it's like Cameroon just switched off. I mean, they just looked
But you got to remember, right? Okay, Abu Bakr I think he's the captain.
Correct. Yeah.
And they're probably, Rigobot Song is probably thinking, okay, I have to give Abu Bakr some time. I got to give Choupo-Moting some time. Abu Bakr is probably already pissed off that he didn't start the game. I expected Abu Bakr to start, so I think he's balancing out and managing the game time for the players as well. And you got to realize that Choupo-Moting, he's not as young as he used to be anymore. So it would be healthy to have that balance, but it's not maybe not best for the team, you see?
I can understand that, but it did seem like it was a miscalculation in the end because, like, I think they looked more threatening when Choupo-Moting was on.
They
But
were.
it's
Definitely
possible that
were.
it's possible he can't play the full 90 anymore. I mean,
Yeah, maybe that's the case. And another player that looked really good was Brandon Buemo, 23 years old, plays for Brentford. He looked really threatening on the day. So he's a good addition to their squad. I think a player that they didn't bring was Michael Gajri and Gajri. I think his name is Gaj and Gajri. He was a mainstay, a part of the team there. And, if you check the bench, I don't know if Rigobot Song actually got his 11 right on the day, man, because Mumi Gamelo, is a usual starter in this team as well. And maybe, who knows, maybe Christian Bassogard running down the wings could have helped. So now you could only say that in hindsight. But the Swiss team, I have to say, was very difficult to break down because I think Sylvan Vidme had a very good game and Nico Elvedi, But one thing that they have to sweat is those 2 yellow cards there for the defenders. Akanji and Elvedi was resolute at the back, and Summer very difficult to beat. So, and of course, Xhaka and Shaqiri, they were doing their thing.
one thing
I think the Swiss team has more warming up to do.
I would agree with that, and I think that they're going to present more of a goal scoring threat to Brazil than I think Serbia did today, because we know that this team that they have some teeth. I think with Switzerland though, going back to what we said about Shaqiri, it's like Shaqiri's he's the quintessential national team player, man.
Yep.
He always steps up for Switzerland, no matter like whatever trouble he's having, whatever club he's going, he's with. Like the assist he made today to Embolo, I mean, just hit the way that he was threatening on that right hand flank. Like they won them that match, and I think that he's gonna play a massive role if they're gonna get out of this group, just like he did last time in Russia.
Shaqiri, bro, hat trick in 2014. The big game that's coming up with them and Serbia. Remember his celebration the last time around.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna be crazy, man. I'm telling you, the game between Switzerland and Serbia is gonna be a hell of a game, man.
The last match day.
Yep. So look, I don't think there's much more to talk about this game. There weren't a lot of big key highlights in the match, like a ton load of chances for Cameroon. Let me just say the highlight reel is probably not the most entertaining. You know what I mean? It's not like the England Iran highlight reel. But just to top it off, 7 shots for Switzerland, 3 on target. They had 51% of the ball. For Cameroon, they had 8 shots, 5 on target. So Jan Sommer, came up clutch on the day for his side as well, 49%. So even throughout, but it's only the goal scoring stat that was the difference, and 1-0 for Lanati over the indomitable Lions. Maybe you could say they were kittens today.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Cameroon, they've now lost like their last 8 matches at the World Cup. Their last time they won a game was in 2002.
That's unacceptable, man.
Very dominable.
Very not domitable. So with that being said, let's move on to the next match in Group G. I've been waiting to talk about this one. I've really been waiting to talk about this one. We will touch on who the teams play, of course. But look, before I forget, Brazil, their next game is against Switzerland, massive game. And of course, Cameroon would take on Serbia. Let's start Brazil, Serbia. 2-0. Bro, I predicted a
Woo!
3-1 win for Brazil. And I confidently predicted that. Confidently. I wasn't like, okay, Serbia. You never know. You never know. But come on, this is Brazil we're talking about here. This is
Yeah.
Brazil, okay? I didn't think that they were gonna pull a Argentina or Germany. This is Brazil. This team is like so stacked up, man. It's almost illegal to be so stacked up, I'm telling you. And Tite, he knows this side very, very well. Players in the team get called up on merit. He's not afraid to leave players out. You're not gonna get called up on your name. And they put out a very good performance on the day, man. Richarlison, 62nd minute goal, tap in after, the ball was loose there. And that second goal, I have to say this, that is goal of the tournament already.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. It
cannot,
was.
I don't think that's going to be very hard to top.
Yeah.
That is going to be hard to top, bro.
Yeah, it is. Not just for like the shot itself, but the control, the way he leveled it off his foot to get that in the air to shoot it. It was it reminded me of a goal that Zlatan scored back in Euro 2012.
Yeah.
Against, I don't know if you remember, against France. It was a fire goal, man.
But,
like Jogo
from what the commentators were saying, it didn't look intentional. They were saying that the initial pass from I think that was Vinicius with the pass, right?
Yeah, it was.
If I'm not mistaken.
It was Vinicius.
Yeah. I think he had like a bubble, and when maybe like he tried to control it and it hit his foot and popped up. But even if that's the case, you got to give him credit for being composed enough to pull that out the locker, man.
Yeah, of course.
That was ridiculous.
And he didn't get a good look at goal when he did it. He had to react quickly and make the turnaround.
Bro, that was ridiculous.
Exactly, yeah. It's amazing.
I'm still in awe. That was a great goal. But look, man, I didn't have any doubts that Brazil were going to get the job done. They were dominant, man. And when I say dominant, we take a look at the stats here. Yeah. 22 shots at goal, 8 on target compared to Serbia's 5. Serbia weren't able to get that ball to Mitrovic. And I think if Milinkovic-Savic in goal didn't make some big saves, this could have been a very embarrassing scoreline, especially, the saves were made, but Rafinha, he had to be a bit more clinical, in my opinion, because, those chances, when they present themselves, you have to bury them. Alexandro with that shot that hit the post, and then it was the Casemiro with that shot that hit the crossbar as well.
Yeah, I believe it was. Casemiro was great today.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I mean, the end of midway through the second half, when Brazil was really piling on the pressure, they were just hounding Serbia.
Yeah.
Like it got to a point where they were pinning them. And if Vanya doesn't come off his line and makes like those 2-3 saves, that could have been like 4 or 5-0.
Exactly.
Man. Because after Richarlison scored the first one, even Brazil smelt blood. Like they kept going and they were really juiced up. I think Serbia, the first half, they were pretty valiant. I mean, you got to
give them credit. Give them credit for going to the first half, the break, 0-0. Give them a lot of credit.
Even though they didn't really have any answers for Vinicius, I thought that they were snuffing out a lot of what Neymar was producing, like down the middle of the pitch. Like they kept like intercepting him, if you noticed that. But it's in the end, it was just too much. It's just too much. They got overwhelmed.
Remember when Neymar almost scored that Olympico as well?
Yeah.
Listen, the goalkeeper is who kept the scoreline respectable.
Yes.
And this is not a bad result for Serbia. Let me just say that, because it's only 2-0. It could have been 5 or 4, and that would have messed up their goal difference, right? But the fact that Switzerland won their game, Brazil won their game, now the pressure is on Serbia. Big time. Serbia would need Brazil to do them a favor and beat Switzerland, and we know that's not going to be easy because last time around
They drew.
Switzerland drew. And who says that Serbia are going to push aside Ghana?
You mean Cameroon? Yeah, no, there's no guarantee that either.
Cameroon, pardon me.
There's no guarantee because Cameroon showed signs of life today, and they had an ability to go ahead a couple of times in their match. They didn't get bossed today against Switzerland. And Serbia coming up now with the pressure, like you said, we've seen this time and again. They don't perform at the stage, man.
Exactly.
So they could be entering that match basically all but mathematically out if they lose that to Cameroon. And then,
Serbia is overrated, in my opinion. That's one of my takes. Overrated.
I do think, though, it would have been much better if they had lost 1-0 because when Brazil scored the second, even if Brazil beats Switzerland, what do they beat them by 1?
Yeah.
So let's think about it. Let's say they beat them like 1-0 or 2-1, right? And let's say Serbia, that would neutralize Switzerland's goal difference because they're +1 now. And then Serbia, even if Serbia beats Cameroon, what if they beat Cameroon only like 1-0 or 2-1? That they still at -1 goal. So they would possibly have to get 6 more points from this group. Because they would have to beat Switzerland then.
It's gonna set up. Look, we know Serbia, they gotta win their next game.
100%.
A point is not good enough because that game against Switzerland is going to be feisty, it's going to be bloody, and it could, who knows what the result could be. You see what I mean? And I think it's advantage Switzerland going into that game.
It is.
Advantage.
And statistically speaking, you lose your first game in the World Cup, odds are you got about an 80-85% chance, from what I've seen, of going out. So.
A lot of people talked up the Serbian team, and I'm not saying they're a bad unit. They're not bad at all. And they held their own today for a while. But it's difficult when you're chasing around the ball all game, man. You're running around chasing Brazil. You know what I mean? You're playing cat and mouse with Brazil. It's, they wear you down. And then in the second half, you saw they vanquished. You know what I'm saying? So Brazil, man, just before we land the plane.
22 shots.
They look good, bro. They look good.
They look really good, man.
And with Argentina flunking out in their first game, who knows what's going to happen with them? Maybe you could start calling them Aquafina again, But with Argentina flunking out, Brazil are now looking like favorites along with France, bro. I'm telling you. Spain looks good. England looks good. Brazil and France. These teams look the best so far.
Agreed.
This Brazil team is going to be you beat Brazil. Like Belgium beat them the last time, but Belgium had a tough run. Brazil and then France. If Belgium had got past France the last time, they would have won the World Cup, in my opinion.
Man, if things are setting up the way they are now, it's still early. We could get as early as the quarterfinals. We can get Brazil versus Spain.
Yeah, man. It's set up. It's setting up nicely. And I have to say, this Brazilian team are looking really, really good, man. So, look, just before we get up out of here, we don't want to drag this on any longer. Just quick fire predictions for the games coming up tomorrow. Wales, Iran.
I'm rooting for a narrow Iran win 1-0 or like a draw, but I just think that their head's not in it. Carlos Queiroz held a press conference where he was telling off some reporters. I think Iran's just not in the right headspace with all the political stuff going on in their country. I think Wales is going to win this 2-0.
Yeah,
I have 2 Wales.
I have Wales winning this one, the narrow win, in my opinion. And I have them winning the game. Let me tell you what, 2-1 as well.
Okay.
USA, England.
I know you have England winning 4-1.
Yeah, blowout.
Oh man. I also have a 3-goal margin. I think
for
it's
England or for the
three.
USA.
You think I'm a madman, Dominic Rich? I'll tell you, if we win 3-0 tomorrow, I will do a. No, I'll probably get flagged on YouTube for that. Never mind.
Yeah.
I don't know what I will do. I'll have a heart attack. But I think it's gonna be 3-0 for England. I think Harry Kane will score a brace because I heard he's fit enough to start tomorrow. And I expect us to look throughout this game the way that we made Wales look in the first half in our first match.
All right.
So I think it's going to be 3-0 to England.
All right. Qatar, Senegal.
Well, you're going to add something?
No.
Yeah,
I just have a 0-0 draw for this one.
Oh no, about England, USA. I just think it's too much to ask. I have 3-0 for England. About Netherlands, Ecuador now.
Qatar, Senegal.
I am gonna go with a 3-1 win for Senegal. I think Qatar will score. I'm going with 3-1 for Senegal.
I'm actually going for Qatar to stay alive with a 0-0 draw here.
Woo! Serious?
Yeah, a 0-0. This game has 0-0 written all over it because Senegal. Who's gonna score for Senegal? Tell me.
I mean, Ismail Assar could step up.
These guys ain't scoring nothing, man.
Yeah, but come on, look how bad Qatar were. They're coming up,
bro. Senegal without Mane, it's like a viper without fangs.
I agree.
Okay,
but
look, Qatar are gonna rally from the inspiration from the other Arab teams, you know what I mean? Morocco, Tunisia, Saudi Arabia, the other Asian counterparts like South Korea and Japan. Qatar must show up. They cannot get out. They cannot be the host to be knocked out the earliest. Because they will be out on the second match day. South Africa stayed alive until the third. So
I just don't see it, man. I think that coming up against a team in Senegal that is like even more physical, I think, than Ecuador, have a lot of units on their team.
Let's see.
We'll see. What do you think of them?
And we'll see because the game is early tomorrow, 8 a.m. We'll see. Look, Netherlands, Ecuador. I have Netherlands winning this game narrowly, 1-0.
Same exact here, 1-0. Yeah. I think Ecuador is going to approach this very smart because they'll suspect that Senegal will put Qatar to the sword, and then they'll have the advantage heading into the final day where they need to not lose. They have goal difference on their mind, surely.
Yeah.
And we know that throughout qualifying, they got a lot of 0-0 draws.
Yeah.
So.
And their defense is pretty good right now. So
yeah, I'm going with that as well.
We shall see. So we're gonna land the plane, but on Saturday we got Tunisia, Australia, Poland, Saudi Arabia. Ooh, I'm looking forward to that game. France versus Denmark, and oh my God, Saturday is good. This is gonna be a good Saturday, man. This is gonna be. We could have some teams eliminated Saturday or even tomorrow. So look, man, it's been a good one. Thanks for joining me once again. You know what I mean? I'm gonna run up out of here, go get some sleep. This is episode 5, right?
Yes, it is.
Bro, we've been very consistent. So big up to everybody following the series that we're doing. If you're watching this retroactively after the World Cup is over, big up to you too. Because this is definitely history in the making, man. I got my boy Football Forever working hard. You know?
Trying. Man. So are you, man. You've been really dishing out the material, hours and hours of content you're doing.
Of course, man. The World Cup only comes around once every 4 years, man. It's worth it. So, guys, subscribe to both of our channels. Football Pharaoh's link will be in the description box below. You know, appreciate it. And until next time, God bless and goodbye. Is that what you be saying?
Oh, someone like that. Hopefully we'll see you guys soon. God willing. Take care. Yeah.
Definitely. Peace.